What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I am Love Coach Scott Katamas. I'm your host for the Awakening World, and I want to welcome everybody. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that we truly are a global peace tribe. And today's show is really going to be a wonderful example of that. My dear friend Zasha, who I have such respect for, is my co-host, and she has brought together people from all over the world that she's working with. And also a new friend of ours, Allison, is with us. And so we're going to hear from really the next generation. I can say that. I'm 67. And so all the people here that you're going to be hearing today, they're definitely the next generation of wisdom keepers, of luminaries, of activists that are really dedicated to creating an awakening world. And so get ready, everybody. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful show. And as always, our beloved brother Omar Shah is with us. He's got wonderful musical numbers he's going to play. This is Allison, who I just met. And this is John Raymer's daughter. And we always thank John and Summer Raymer. They put us out on the Sign Network to as many as 175 groups and pages on Facebook. So thank you, John and Summer. And thank you for John for bringing this amazing woman into the world. Witness all of you hear about the work she's doing. And then we've got people from all over the world, and you're going to be meeting them soon. Now, I want to invite those of you who are watching on the different Facebook groups and pages, or on some of our broadcast partners or our YouTube channels, come on into the Zoom room. In fact, come and join the Global Peace Tribe. We're a wonderful group of people from all over the world, all dedicated to awakening, recognizing that our planet is awakening. We are all individually awakening. And so please come and join us. And it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. You can learn all about us and our shows and what we do, and then click register for the new season. That'll take you to our registration page. We do 3 or 4 shows every week, and they all feature amazing musical artists, inspirational leaders. Some of them are famous, and some of them are like you're going to see today, the next generation of luminaries and leaders. On Wednesday night, we did a wonderful show all about what makes sex sacred. Last night, we had a beautiful show all about understanding and honoring our angelic forces, with people, again, from all over the world sharing wisdom of how to connect to our angels and our guides. And here's today's show, all about mentorship of next generation leaders from all over the world. So come and join us. When you join, you're going to get the links that bring you into the Zoom room for all of our shows. And again, we do 3 or 4 every week, and that'll take you all the way through till the end of the June. which is we're in our current season. And there's also all sorts of special things. We have retreats, we have events. There's a lot going on with the Global Peace Tribe. I also want to let everybody know, I see a lot of our regulars are in the Zoom room, some of you that I love. And you're only going to get a little bit of Scott today because I'm in Ashland, Oregon. I've got my Twin Ray t-shirt on because there's a big event which I'm going to be participating in with the Twin Ray that starts this morning. So I am going to put you into the capable hands of Zasha and Omashar and our guests. But I am going to start us off with an opening blessing. And little Jasmine Bear is right here sleeping on my lap. So I'm really going to just channel her. Let's go ahead and start by closing our eyes, unless you're operating a motor vehicle. And let's just start by taking some deep breaths. Breathing at your own pace. And on every exhale, releasing any thoughts or stuff that no longer serves you. And on every inhale, coming deeper into the universe of you, the beautiful being that you are. Exhaling, releasing, letting go. Inhale, coming into you. And I invite you to put your hand on your heart and continue to breathe and just allow my voice to gently guide you into your beautiful heart. If you can, feel your heart beating. And how is your heart doing today? What emotions are inside of you? And a reminder that all emotions are welcome, whether they're comfortable or uncomfortable. Because it's all part of life's experience, whether we're in joy and love, or whether we're in sadness. They're all part of the human experience. And so whatever is alive or present for you is welcome. And as you tune into your heart, I invite you to think of something you're grateful for in your world. Something that is making life more wonderful for you. And I'd also like to ask you to think of something you're grateful to yourself for. What are you doing, or something you've done recently that made life more wonderful for another person, for the planet, for our community, local or global? And let's stay in this state of gratitude as we meet these wonderful women that are really doing incredible things to change our world. Let's stay in a state of gratitude for them, and may it serve as inspiration for each and every one of us. And let's carry that inspiration into our sacred Sunday and into our world. And I invite you to open your eyes. I'm going to go to gallery view. And thank you, those of you that have your cameras on. And let's just look at those of us who do have our cameras on, recognizing that most of the people watching on Facebook, we can't see you, but we're thinking about you. And looking at all these beautiful, unique emanations of the one eternal beloved, including Mark and his accordion. Even the accordion is part of the eternal beloved. So thank you so much, everybody. And I'm going to turn it back over to our beloved brother Omashar for an opening musical number.
when there's nowhere left to turn, and you're feeling kind of low. Slow down, and breathe me in. When the smile has left your face, and the tears roll down your cheeks, slow down, and breathe me in. When your river's running dry, and you're driven to your knees, slow down, and breathe me in. I am watching you, waiting for you to let my love into that lonely life of yours. Listen to me, and we can be together free eternally. La da 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 da. La 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 da 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 da. La la la. When you're feeling out of touch, and you need someone to hold, slow down, and breathe me in. Slow down, and breathe me
Ah, thank you, beautiful, beloved brother Omashar, for helping us to slow down.
Slow down. It's interesting, at this time of year in Colorado, these cherry blossoms are now starting to blossom on the trees here. So, yeah.
I'll send you a picture where I'm going today. There are cherry blossoms all starting to bloom
everywhere,
last
right?
week. Yeah, so it's happening. And I'm going to go to gallery view for a moment. Let's all twinkle Omashar. For those of you who are new, we twinkle on the awakening world. That's our way of saying thank you. And it's beautiful to watch all of you dancing. Isn't it lovely, Omashar, to see all the different...
The flow, it's interesting because they'll our dancers will get it with gusto, and then the theme of the flow of the song comes, and
and they kind of shift.
And it was very very alternative today, so that was very cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I know, right?
Well, you know, I had a great pleasure a few months ago of meeting Zasha. Right away, I knew that this was a very special soul. And as I got to know her, just the way she's managed a difficult life, difficult circumstances that she was born into, and her incredible, big, beautiful heart, balanced with being an activist, a psychotherapist, and even an attorney. And yet she's balanced all of that in her incredible dedication to our world. And then I learned what she was doing with WET. You'll learn all about WET today. I said, please, let's do a show together. And so she's invited some of the people that she works with, that we're going to get to know, people from all over the world. So I'm just going to start, Zasha, by asking the question that we'll start with everybody. What is your personal commitment to our awakening world, playing your part in the raising of consciousness? And maybe tell us a little bit about WET.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for your beautiful words. Such an honor to be here. It's such an honor to bring what I've been doing to this beautiful platform and the wonderful work that you do, Scott. Thank you for doing this for the world. This is the time where we all find each other and we all connect with each other, support each other, and together as a network of fireblazers, trailblazers, love warriors, we transform the globe. And that is actually what WET is all about. It was born from a place of, I attended an ISTA training and I felt, ooh, after that, it was like, oh my God, there was this scream inside my being that these love transmissions of freedom, power, liberation, and I mean, words can't do justice to that training, but these transmissions are so needed in places like Pakistan, in places like Iran, Afghanistan, Syria, Latin America, Africa, all the places that are really struggling under systems of oppression, global disempowerment. And this is the way we free the world. And the world cannot transform if we leave most of it behind. The focus can't just remain on the areas that are really developed. We all go together. That's the big lesson of humanity. We are communal beings. We're designed to be interdependent. And whenever we create systems where some fraction of the population is doing really well and others are really far behind, we see a lot of issues come up. So in order to step into the new world, this felt like the way, and that's how WET was born. So we mentor people from these places where, in these places, we really have to understand that, the way that oppression works, the way that, disempowerment works is like breeding victim, inauthenticity, entitlement into people, breaking them so that they can't stand up and they can't even feel their own beings, their own source as love. So we mentor them. They then go attend these magical trainings. They come back, they do a community empowerment project in their local community, seeding these transmissions. And we're waiting to build that critical mass. When enough of these transmissions are seated in a place, people will rise, people will liberate. And that's our Activism 2.0, the Love Warrior Network that we're trying to build across the world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, I know you're going to introduce us to your different love warriors, but I'm going to just briefly introduce one of our guests. And I just met her. This is Allison. When I learned about the work that you're doing, Allison, being raised Jewish, and then realizing that what was taking place in Palestine was so inhumane that you chose to spend over a decade in Palestine in support of the local Palestinian people. And as a Jewish woman choosing to do that, honestly, I feel tears, because that to me is that is living your life in creating peace. And so welcome to the awakening world. Thank you so much for what you are doing in the world. And please tell our audience a little bit about your journey.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I mean, first, I want to also acknowledge this journey as being the journey that has been fed by the waters on the lands of the people that the stolen lands that I have grown up on. So the Jawamish tribe and the Snohomish tribe in Seattle and in the Pacific Northwest. And then for 15 years in the land of the Palestinian people. And for now, I'm currently in the land of the Ohlone and Miwok tribes in the Bay Area. And I think that it wasn't only being Jewish, but also being Jewish and being American, understanding the war on terror and the impact that the war on terror was having, obviously, in the Middle East, but also the relationship between Israel and the United States, which is very significant. Israel is the largest recipient of US military aid, largest or second largest. I can't remember now the latest stat on that, but we have a really deep relationship with and direct impact on supporting the occupation of Palestine as Americans. And then as a Jewish person and a young person, really looking for and trying to understand belonging in homeland as it relates to my ancestors who are both Eastern European and German ancestors who have been dispossessed many times in their life and have lived in diaspora for generations. What does it really mean to come home? Where do you really belong when you have that long history of being refugees, but also becoming settlers and being part of settler colonial projects in the United States and Canada and Australia as Jewish people, and also in Palestine. So returning home has really been such a false kind of pretense and such a story and a narrative that has been really told to us, and Judaism has been used as a part of that story for dominating other people. So learning and coming into awareness of that as something very different than the idea that this was my birthright, that I'm coming home to Israel. And I actually was a Zionist and also immigrated to Israel and was looking to be a part of a socialist project, which a continuation of the Eastern European lineage, really, and the ideas that we were developing there that led to pogroms, which were like small holocausts kind of, and then the Holocaust and really the destruction of our culture, our Yiddish culture, and a lot of our political and intellectual movements, which then were absorbed into settler colonial projects. So I'm really here at this time in the Jewish story and being really present to what it means to have had our story of victimhood become a story of oppression, and working with the Jewish community and how we not only intellectually and physically and materially deal with that, but also emotionally and spiritually.
What a journey. And, I really appreciate your acknowledgement of both sides, that the Jewish history does include so much victim experience, but then to go from the oppressed to the oppressors. And I really appreciate your love of your people and your ability to see the bigger picture and to see beyond that. And again, that is what humanity needs, is to be able to see beyond our cultural indoctrination. And that's something that, both you and Zasha are doing such incredible work in. Huge love. And I'm going to be turning everything over to Zasha and to Omashar. I cannot wait to come back and watch this show tonight. I love each and every one of you that are watching this show, all of our Zoom members. Zasha, thank you so much. And go ahead and introduce your other friends that are with us.
Thank you, Scott. You will be missed. What a beautiful, beautiful message from you, Allison. I'm so looking forward to engaging more with you. And I honor your integrity of the soul that you carry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh. So I have here today with us one of our mentors who has been a godsend to WET. She brings her fire, her passion. She is such a superstar, an incredible woman. Like WET will not be able to function without this soul. Her name is Juliana Rojas. Let's spotlight her and put her on the. Hi, Juliana.
Hi, hello to everyone.
Honestly, she is the passion that she breathes for her culture, for her people, for her ancestors. You know, Latin America has been, and it's such a beautiful part of the world. It's actually the first time that I'm getting to explore this beautiful area. And yeah, and so Juliana, please, I would love to hear from you about your experience in WET and what you bring.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you so much. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know why. Maybe connecting with so beautiful souls. Allison, thank you for sharing with us your story and what you bring. And well, I come from the most mega diverse country in the world, which is Colombia, but with so much suffering also. And I come from a country that has not suffered from religion, but has suffered from that mega diverse richness that we have. It's our land that is being always in attack. And I'm also a worldwide citizen. And I'm a person that was born in a very privileged place in this beautiful country. And I've been an activist, yes, in politics for a long time, but then I decided that it was through culture that we can change really people in a cultural country as Colombia, where music and arts are really the core of our country. And I really believe that we are going to be the future of the world because that we are diversity. We are Black, we are Indigenous, we are Spanish, we are European, we are everything, you know? And nowadays is where people can appreciate who we are and what we are bringing to the world. That is not only about culture and diversity, but also about music and the way of how we express and how we feel life. And that's why I always says, and I think my bio is there, that first of all, I'm Caribbean. And I said that because it's a state of the soul for me, being Caribbean, as being Mediterranean, as being from the Andes. The Caribbean is a state of the soul. And from here, from this state of my soul, is that I share with all of you and with all the people that I know who I am. And I do believe with this question that Scott made at first, and I think with WET, of course, what I'm doing, that I will get there. I think what I'm bringing to this world, to this new awakening world, is to be myself. And it's been a long, long, long journey because I was born remembering who I was in a world, in a privileged place where everyone told me what I needed to be: a lawyer, maybe a president, maybe a minister, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I just wanted to be me. I just wanted to express all what I am. And I'm a multi-passionate person that I don't want to be just just in one box saying I'm a lawyer, or I am an activist, or I am this. I am so many things. And that's what I came to this world. And from my braveness, because I have to say that I've been very brave to explore each of one of those things. So I've been an actress, I've been a musician, I've been a producer, I've been in everything of what I loved, of what I wanted to explore of myself, and things are still coming through. So now in this moment of my life, I'm a mentor in WET, in the Empowerment World Trust. And what I found here with Sasha and with all the team that we have here is to be able to show my fire, to show everything that I am with all the complexity that it can be, and be embraced and be celebrated. And in that same way, to celebrate others coming from other cultures, from other backgrounds, similar some, I think, which more similar things than difference, of course. That's what I found in this beautiful journey with Wet. All the similarities that we have. It doesn't matter where you were born, what difficulties you may have. At the end, we are all scared by the same things, that those same fears are trying to get us. We are all full of hopes, full of different ways to see the world, but we all want to be loved, and we all want to be part of something, and we all want our lives to be meaningful. And yeah, I don't know if I'm going too much out of the questions of what I was supposed to say, but this is me and this is Wet. Yeah.
Thank you, Juliana. I have so many chills and goosebumps from what you've shared. You're here to be you. And as a part of you being you, the whole world is benefiting. Isn't that just epic? And that is the new world, where we're being the change we seek. Yes. That's what we try to do in Wet. And Juliana has mentored so many beautiful souls from so many different countries. And actually, one of her mentees is here with us today. And
Yes.
she is an incredible being. And I mean, I'm gonna let Juliana introduce her in more depth. But she is such a superstar, coming from a very conservative Christian country, Ecuador, and breaking her shackles and stepping into her power. Yes, Juliana, I'll let you introduce her more deeply as her mentor.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, I want to introduce to Margarita. Ma, I think she's there as Ma, maybe to put her also on the spotlight. Margarita Pareja, thank you so much for being here to accept this invitation from Wet. And Margarita is from Ecuador. She's a psychologist. She's a life and coach couple coach. She also is a primal dancer, and she's so many things, more than only this, that she will tell all of you. And I invited her to be here because I really appreciate what she did with her project. Because yes, we are here to support people that are leaders already. Some of them wants to become leaders, but also what I was saying, I'm here to be me. And that's one of the things that I ask my mentees is to make a project that impact first them, that something can change in them so they can show the others a little bit of that journey so they can come and walk with her. And she did a beautiful project that she will tell you about. So we'll leave you with Margarita.
Wow. Yeah, I'm touched by your words, Juliana. And first of all, grateful for the mentoring. It was beautiful to be mentored by you, and what Sasha was saying about you, about this woman of fire and passion and authenticity. Like, I experienced that, and that was also the gift that she had for me to move through. And I'll explain that a little bit. But before that, like, touching base also with something Allison was talking about, and we're all interconnected, and the synchronicities are always occurring. And my journey starts very similar to what she was talking about. And my first master's degree was in peace and conflict resolution, because I wanted to illuminate the darkness with the light. And so I worked with Palestinian and Israeli processes in the university. And then I trained to go to like violent areas, and I worked with the United Nations. And I thought that was my path. And it was about peace and it was about conflict. But then I realized that my real passion was about identifying the conflict from within, and what is not resolved within us that is not bringing us peace. And so how can I be a peacekeeper and a guardian of peace when within me there was still so much conflict? And I bring that back to the story with Juliana, because when I was thinking about my project, I knew that it was about sharing my poetry with the world, but my poetry was about my own transformation process that I still hadn't finished fully completing. And Juliana shows me a piece of that, which was, I am willing to gift the world my poetry book, and about my tantric process, and it's like a coming out through my poetry book, And I'm willing to do that with the world because I think that the world is in a very important transformation process and can now receive it, because I was so afraid of myself and who I am. And I felt that the world wasn't ready. And I was like, oh, the world is ready. But then she kind of like highlights something that it's like, is your family ready? Is your community ready? And what would this process mean for yourself to come out first with your own family? And when she was saying this, I was like, ooh, okay. This takes a lot from me to confront like where my own programming is coming from, and realizing that my sacred rebellion process had to begin within myself, but with my own family and coming out to them. And so we put that into the project, because the project was like doing workshops around the book and talking about sacred sexuality and talk about authenticity and talk about Tantra. And I was really excited I could do that with the rest of the world, but I couldn't even talk about it with them. And so that was the gift that Juliana brought to me, which was start micro. And so what has come of this process is a total acceptance of myself, my family accepting me, and they were so gracious. And it was like these fears that we have, that we make them like these huge monsters, and then we do it, and then we realize, oh, that was not as hard and as like heart shattering as I thought it was going to be, because I cultivated the love first. And love is that healing transformational process that tantric process I've been walking. That's one of the first foundations, which is how to move through the world through love with an open heart, and trusting in that. And so then I could trust my parents to hold me through that process, and my brothers and my sisters and my community, which you were saying, Sasha, I come from this. Ecuador is probably among the most religious countries in Latin America, and we still hold strong to so many of those values. And I was in this process of breaking so much of that within myself and finding my own like 2 feet in my own like spirituality in that process. And so now, yes, I am using my book, the poetry book, to help women and men in this liberation process and this process of love. And I'm using my book for that, but much more stable within myself. So I offer silent tantric retreats and help couples, but a lot more coherent within myself and a lot more liberated with my conflicts. That's like the way I can summarize it.
Wow. Like, thank you, Margarita. What a beautiful story. And I can see those same threads, like the humanitarian work where you started and then going within, that is so resonant with my own journey as well. And so many journeys where we first kind of focus on the outside, and then we realize we first have to come here. And through this work, the light that we bring can then transform so many in such a deep way. Thank you for what you do and bring. Now I think it's time to introduce our other mentee that is here. She's going with Hita Devi. She is a Persian freedom fighter. She's a blue lotus that is emerging from the mud. And what a fiery soul. Like, she has emerged from conservative Iran, and she has been, the torch bearer in a way for women. Like, she will tell you about her project that she's done with us. What a soul. Hita, please introduce yourself. I can't possibly do you justice.
Hello. I'm so grateful to be here. I go around with name Hita Devi, although I have many others, but you can call me by that. And I'm so honored to be here. This is the first time a beautiful organization asked me to be here. I want to celebrate that, because a year ago when I started my journey with WED, I was so deeply victimized, and like, I know I had the power, but all my attempt to reclaim it just failed. And I was like, really, no, not me. And I wanted to hide all this beauty. So I'm glad that it didn't happen that way, and I get to shine which is I am here for. So I'm from Iran, and at the moment I do women empowerment work for the last 3 years or so. I come with the background of, I guess, an American way of putting it is domestic violation. I had a violent father who used to beat us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And very soon in my early 60s, I realized that I have got this voice for a reason, and I can help others who don't know how to bring their voice to speak out loud their truth. And I start with my mom. So she's my first mentee. And then it just keep evolving in the coming years. And with WET, my gratitude, it doesn't really come in a few words. I am going to be in a field of WET and serve as a mentor soon myself. I want to also celebrate that level up from mentee to mentor. And the work you guys are doing over there is amazing. Like, I don't know how to put it, but those mentor over there, they have such a laser eye that they can see through the mud and see the lotus before it's there, where only the flower stamp is there. They can know and help the person to find out if it's a blue or a purple lotus. So every time I had 5 projects with WET, 6, 5. I don't know, it's getting out of hand now, since they are really supporting me and giving me the inspiration to go and support my community, which they are very grateful for. And the number of those women that I get to help are also getting more than 100. So I'm not going to count it. From next year, I'm just going to say hundreds to them. And they're women from all over Iran. And these mentors in WET, and Juliana is one of them, and my other great mentor that see the flower bud before it blooms, and every time they just not really pushing me to the edge, but like gently guiding me through the edge every time. And I realized that if every time I can take a small step, the ripple effect of that transformation in me and in reclamation of my power is a key, so I can every time a step bigger and have my arms more wide open for, instead of 50 women, hundreds of them, and then also practicing with them every time. So I guide Iranian women for liberation, which I didn't had one when I was growing up. I remind them of the power, because mostly we have this issue in Iran, feeling powerless, which is very normal. If every time someone want to express themselves and get suppression, guess what? It's not going to bloom after a while. So I am also learning to help other lotuses in the mud to bloom with me. And yeah, my life is too many ups and downs. I think the blooming blue lotus is a good definition to drop it to essence. And I'm so grateful for those laser eyes in WET that can see through me and still support me after all. I teach liberation. I don't know how to put it, to also keep it confidential and just speak about it. I teach liberation to Iranian women, and I teach them way of expressing themselves in any shape or form that they're comfortable, and slightly guiding to the edge. And yeah, I'm grateful for knowing you guys. Without WET, I would be dead perhaps by now, because I was really in a suicidal mood, like, oh, this life is really boring. Did I really sign up for this? But now I know I signed up for this, and I got tools and allies that I can move in this path with. And the feelings of being part of something, the longing, you know, I felt my power when I was 16 years old, but then also reclaiming that power, and my ego get really entangled as I was a teenager and want to find myself and my expression. But now in the age of 32, I get to separate the part of me that is my ego dancing, or the part of me that is really in devotion and service. And being able to differentiate that is a good one. And yeah, that's it. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I am forever grateful, and also offering my service on the temple floor for you girls to take me as a servant. I'm ready to serve it more than I receive from.
Thank you so much, Hita. Just to put it in context, this woman has been risking her life to do this work. If she was to return to Iran for any reason, she would be put in prison. So I don't know how much people know about what's been going on with Iran and female liberation, but this is work that is life risking. And she is standing here doing that in spite of all the, it's a way of, also it's a way of overcoming and like all the childhood trauma that is sort of beaten into people from these oppressive places. This is how the oppression is maintained. And thank you, Hita, for standing in that fire, for cherishing your life enough to honor us and not give up on it, and to benefit the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So with that, let's bring everybody up. Let's all of our guests, let's have a little drop in. Let's everybody take a deep breath as well. We've had some beautiful transmissions that we've received. Oh, yes. Just some deep breaths into the body. Just there were some challenging things that we heard as well. Sometimes the nervous system, gets a bit activated, hearing about what's happening in different parts of the world. Beautiful. Allison, I would love to touch in with you. Your soul that is already also vibrating with us in our way as well. I mean, I'm so grateful that Scott found you and had the wisdom to bring you into this program with us. I would love to hear from you. How are you feeling hearing about WET and about your work? And yeah, I would just love to receive your impressions.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for what's been shared here. I feel that I've dropped into exactly the perfect place. I mean, I'm really in a space of transitioning from a lot of that outer work that you were sharing, Zasha, and also Margarita, into more of a space of inner work, but also like creating support within my community for more of that inner work. I've worked with so many activists and change makers in the past 15 years as I transitioned, coming into Israel, coming into Palestine, but with an Israeli mindset, and immersing myself, learning the language, becoming a part of Israeli society, and also as I got to that stage, starting to recognize and understand more of the undercurrent and what was happening in Palestine, and the way in which Israel had really been is controlling and brainwashing people, and also the situation of having secondary citizens within Israel, Palestinians who live within Israel, but then also in the West Bank and Gaza, and the inhumane conditions that have been created by humans, by Israel, and with the support of the United States. So I've worked with so many people over the years who give their lives to make it more visible to the world. For a long time, that was a lot of the work, like showing the world what was happening there. Those of you who remember the time of the Second Intifada, I think it's good to recognize that that was a time where we had so much control by mainstream media of what the message and what the images were that was coming from areas of conflict and Israel, Palestine. And that has really changed in the past 2 decades with social media and with the internet. We're able to see directly from activists so much more of what the situation is on the ground. And a lot of my work was about helping and supporting that movement, getting people access to cameras and technology so that they could share what was directly happening. And then at the same time experiencing the backlash of that, the backlash of being a liberated person, the backlash of sharing with the world what's really going on, meaning that either social media companies are taking down your content or governments and people in your community are starting to attack you more. So I think that there's also been this experience of dealing with some of the wisdom and the teaching about activism, like raise your voice, share, tell the world what's going on, but not enough safeguards in there about like what really can be, personal and political and communal risks and harms that happen. So the later part of my career was really about thinking about those, not my career, I don't like that word anymore.
My life purpose, mission.
Yeah. Was, creating spaces of safety where we could work, we could be together as a collective, as a group, as an organization, and, continue to share and document war crimes and, think of creative ways of resistance through music, through culture, through art, as safe ways in which we could keep sharing the need for this liberation and for justice. And I know that a generation of activists that I worked with for 10 years, we've done a lot of that work. We became those people. We became the human rights lawyers and defenders. We sat in the United Nations. We sent all the documentation and did all this stuff. And so many of us are so exhausted and have, suffered different degrees of really difficult repercussions for that, especially I think women particularly are at risk as human rights defenders. And a lot of the ways in which that appears is actually invisible. It's not visible like that we necessarily end up in prison, though plenty of people do, but such deep levels of exhaustion, such deep levels of isolation, of dealing with harassment and being pushed out of a lot of institutional spaces that we've invested in and not being able to take those spaces of power because men are consistently chosen over us. I think has really led a lot of people that I have worked with to really step back and think about the different ways that we need to be doing this work. And that reform of the large institutions is not going to be the answer, and that even the generation of institutions that we might inherit that are on a smaller scale are really not designed to function. They're still very hierarchical, and the culture of nonprofit organizations continues to be very toxic and to not be supportive of activists. And so we can't go to isolation because it's too dangerous. So I think that there's really seeking of a different framework, a different structure. And I'm so interested in the common language and the culture that you're building with WET. And I know so many people, I think, that are looking for new ways that are an embodied experience, a spiritual experience of our activism that isn't just this within this human rights framework and within this nonprofit industry. So, yeah.
So in the chat,
Allison.
Eleanor Joy just said, "How about your vocation?" And was that directed at Alison, Eleanor, or generally to the panel?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can just answer it, and why I don't want to say career. I mean, it is fully my work is so, intertwined with who I am personally, as I think it is for so many of us. I can't really, by vocation, I've been a fundraiser, I've been a manager, I've been a coach, and how I make money and how I continue to support myself in this journey is also a question, because I really can't afford any more of the exploitative kind of work arrangements that I've been living in for so long, I think, though, and was a part of creating. I created organizations and institutions that I don't think really honor and nurture enough the people that work within them. And it's really a question for me, and I'm at a point of a pause right now in the time, and a time to kind of I'm living with a family member. I just stopped working. I really started to work on, dealing with de-escalation from the achievement culture, from the, the need to really push myself to be producing, and just really have looked at like a modest way of being in the world right now that can allow me time for contemplation and exploration and new connection.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that, Allison. I resonate with you so deeply in my own activism work, with the burnout and being a female leader in a country like Pakistan, where the men just couldn't handle being led by a woman, and the particular kinds of experiences of that. And it really takes a toll. It's like having to work 100 times or 1,000 times as hard, and having to be that much tougher, because the insecure masculine in these oppressive cultures often attacks feminines that do dare to rise. In Pakistan's lawyers movement, where I sort of started my activism journey, the interesting thing was civil society was being led by women. And people were like, how is this even possible? What's going on? How come all the leaders are women right now?
Right.
And so,
But
and we had these discussions.
With a limit, like all of civil society being led by women and all of government being led by men, and a constant tension between these two entities, and also like a very top tier level of men being like right there at the top in a lot of civil society as well, but the majority women within all of the institutions. In I was in at least 2 organizations where you have 14, 15 women and 1 or 2 men, but they are in the top in the leadership as well. So it's just a real imbalance there. Yeah.
I just had a beautiful, goosebumps all over my body, chills, beautiful hit. This is the feminine rising and changing the world. Just look at this. She's rising in all of us, and she's also rising in so many men and coming in to transform the world, right? Like, this is the new way. And Allison, I would love to actually introduce you to so many people. We have activists who are doing that work in Israel and Palestine right now. We actually WET funded so many Palestinians who crossed the border illegally to enter Israel to attend some trainings. It was epic. So we're also doing work there. And so, so it'd be beautiful to connect more like you to some activists that we know there as well. And yes, and let's look to, nourishing the activists, like making sure that they don't burn out, right? I mean, I've seen so many activists risk their lives and lose their lives, and such a loss for the world. And so finding safe ways of working that are sustainable, that nourish ourselves, our bodies, as we do this work is so essential, so essential. And having these communities where we nurture and nourish each other with love, and so that we can transmit love as we stand in the world, because that's what will transform.
So, Sasha, Hita has to leave very shortly. So let's just say ho de Leo, and she's going to put her bio and contact information in the chat box, correct?
Yeah, after all that I'm hearing, I want to add a little bit about Iran, just maybe a sentence. In my country, to born as a woman is already a crime. So like, forget about this woman do anything. Just being in a female body is already a challenge. But from the challenge and the pressure, the diamond is born. Shine bright like a diamond. So that's it. I'm living, and I will watch the reply for sure. But yeah, I'm just coming out of such a week, and I'm so grateful to be here. And for each one of you, I bow in front of the work you do, and I honor every moments of your life that you invest into this for the whole world peace.
So Hita, if you'd
you
like
so
to
much.
put your Instagram into the chat, that'd be great. Please.
Yes, I will do that. Yeah, feel free if you like my work. I do also work with women out of Iran, and a lot of free class and donation based, because I want the culture of oneness and unity to be spread. So yeah, feel free to follow if you resonate. And thank you, Zasha. Thank you, Juliana. Oh, thank you, each one of you, for being here.
Thank you for joining us, Ita. I'm
See
so
you
glad.
on another time.
Have a great day.
Ciao.
Yeah, I wanted to add something, and thank you, Hita, definitely amazing. You were saying something, Alison, I think, and it really touched me, because the isolation. And just by giving our opinion, we can be isolated. And that's when I was saying, just by me being me, I feel I'm an activist, because in my sense, since I'm a little girl, I always felt that I have a voice, and a very strong voice that can really project. And I found that just by asking the questions, it doesn't have to be to make the other one think what you think. Just by asking uncomfortable questions, there is a problem. You're a problematic person. And I think that's very sad. Just by asking questions, it has nothing to do with you wanting to impose your opinion or change opinions. Just asking questions, just giving uncomfortable questions to be asked about ourselves. And I wanted to also, because I think it's something important, every mentor, as Sasha will know, would say, every mentor of us is our own world. Of course, we come from different backgrounds. We all come from difficult countries, yes, in general, to understand what the other one is bringing, but we all have different approaches to this mentoring process. And as Margarita was saying, okay, she wanted to show it to the world, but what happened with her immediate world, her family, because I find out there's a lot of people, of coaches and people showing a lot of things, but without doing the work. And this is uncomfortable, what I'm saying. But we need to do the work, our own work, because yeah, it's the only way, really, I guess, to support others in a very responsible way, we need to do the homework. And I really wanted to yeah, to say that, because it doesn't matter if we want to inject projects, a lot of energy and everything, but those projects are for other ones to follow the journey. But what about us leading that journey? And like Hita, for example, was saying, she's leading other women, but she needed to get out of herself. She needed to become a diamond to show the others how to become a diamond. And yeah, thank you.
I just want to
Beautiful
say,
sharing.
oh yeah, I just wanted to reflect back. Like, I'm so glad for this shift in culture, you know, where we can really like support each other to like take time to do, you know, to care for what's inside of us, what's ancestrally alive for us. And also, I think that there is this challenge in a with Western psychology as well, where we're like looking to do this healing, and thinking that it's isolated from other people, and thinking that it's something that we do for ourselves, or that we do alone with service providers. But I really think that breaking out of that frame is also really important to recognize, and that so much of this is done in community. And it's so clear from just the connections that you're establishing with WET and with ISTA, you know, how powerful, like Hita said, it is like to be in this training, you know, just how transformative it is. And I really don't think, I mean, I've been wary somewhat of some of these like intense, you know, spiritual experiences that people talk about having when they're in community for several weeks or something. And I've been working with a therapist for years and years, but I really do think that there's something about the collective, and that the healing that can happen on the collective level that doesn't just happen individually really is so powerful. And the establishment of these relationships that then enable you to continue to live a life connected to that community. And even though I see that you all are more isolated now probably than you were in your times of training, or when you have these like close in-person experiences together, but that you maintain some of that culture, and you're carrying it with you, and that it is spreading and it is rising and being shared. So I see so much how that inner work is connected now. And I think that was also took me time to realize, you know, as an activist, that this is not selfishness, and this isn't, you know, this is actually for all of us. And I'm much more likely to be able to serve when I can serve myself as well.
Daisaku Ikeda, a Japanese philosopher, he said that the revolution of this century was going to be the revolution of the individual. But why? Because the collective is the summary of a lot of individuals. So if we don't make it the revolution of our individuality, it's not possible to create a healthy collective. And that's Daisaku Ikeda. It's wonderful.
We can only connect with others through the self, not through sacrificing the self. That does not lead to connection. And Margarita, I'd love to hear from you. You have been on this journey from that outside to in, and with your family and the inner work. Yeah, I would love to hear your experiences around this.
I am currently going through like this year and a half for me has been so profound. I thought that all the work that I had, the inner work that I've been doing for, I don't know, 15 years, I thought that was the hard work. And that was actually preparing me for now, the hard work that I'm doing now, because it is all coming together. Every single aspect of you know, my master's degrees, studying psychology, the spiritual path, the work on my body, the work on my soul, the work on my spirit, it's coming to now, and the realizations of now that I wasn't ready to listen to before. And part of those programmings that I'm seeing now is one of them has to do with motherhood, with realizing how much programming there is in You have to be mother, because if you are not mother, you are not complete. And I think a lot of women from, Iran and Pakistan and India and these cultures where, yes, mother is important, but that's not all that you came to be. Like you're not just here born as a womb to produce children. And there's this beauty in being mother, but at the same time, there's so much programming of who we are as women. And so I'm coming to terms with that in my own family. And I'm coming to terms with what does it mean to be wife? And also like this imposition that we have from a programming of who are you, first of all? And can I allow myself to be me, as Juliana was saying? And that just being me is to be an activist. But who do I want to be in this world? And what is my essence? And what is my soul calling? And my soul calling in this life was to be a mother to my own projects. My soul calling in this life was to help people through their own movement of darkness to light. My soul calling was to, through my own experience of acceptance of myself, that I am a sexual, sensual, relational, spiritual. I'm a woman that's manifesting in this body, and I manifest it as a woman. And I am a sister, and I am a priestess, and I am a healer. I am all these things, and I'm a dancer, and I'm a poet. Okay, can I accept all of this of who I am? To then say, this is my offering. This is my contribution. This is how I bring light and peace and love to the world. Can I serve from that level of integrity and acceptance of myself? It's taken time, and I will continue to do that process because it's a non-ending journey of like in, out, and the world that I keep seeing outside is the world that's inside. And I'm loving the process. Like I'm holding on tight because I feel like I'm on this like wild horse that's like, just hold on. And I don't know where it's taking me, and it's taking me somewhere. And I love the journey. I love that process and these beautiful human beings that I encounter, like everyone that I've encountered and went, and the possibility that they gave me and believing in me and saying, okay, we believe in you, let's do it. And we're going to challenge you in that process. And I love that challenge process. And I feel that I integrate that a lot into the way I serve, because I have a lot of love and I hold the process, and there's this intuitive mother that holds. And then there's this masculine that kind of pushes the buttons and challenges through the love and through the, hey, can you see this? That you're going through? Can you see this internal conflict? Do you want to go deeper? And so that's the way what held me through that process. That's how I hold others through that process as well.
Thank you so much, Margarita. It is so interesting the way being our full selves, authentically us, especially as like women in oppressive cultures, religious kind of places, patriarchal places, it becomes this revolution unto itself. Because patriarchy and most oppression actually maintains itself through maintaining control over the female bodies. It is through their commodification that patriarchy can prop itself up. And it is through the war between the genders, the male bodies and the female bodies, that patriarchy maintains itself. That has been a strong transmission I've carried. And in my culture, just being a woman who's going to not be invisible and who's actually just going to speak her mind was in itself an act of revolution. It was the biggest threat. Like the number of times people tried to just squat me, like whack-a-mole is what I had them play with me. Like they would squat me here, I'd come up there. But that's how it is. It's like just being ourselves fully, embodied, not hiding, not reducing our shines. That alone is so radical in this world. And it connects us to each other in an authentic way that, hasn't existed. I mean, I grew up resenting my womb because the idea of motherhood as enslavement really existed in my culture. Like I saw like, oh, once you have a child, now you're a slave to the family, to the husband. Now to the interest of the child, you can't go out, you can't do anything. And I grew up resenting my womb or like being my ultimate enslavement. And then as I unshackled that, now my womb can be my source of power. It's like this is for us as female bodies, this liberation, and then how it serves the men, because patriarchy also oppresses men. I mean, patriarchy is actually main target, in my personal opinion, is men, because they need the men for the armies, right? And the corporations and the governments. And so how do you enslave men? Through using, through commodifying women. We are basically exchanged as commodities in the slave trade of men, and men are the target slaves. That's how I see the system.
Wow.
And so through this liberation, us refusing to be commodities, we're also setting the men free. I mean, I see the impact on my own brother and my family.
Yeah. It's a process that in many ways is so painful, because it's easy as an activist to look at, oh, they are the patriarchy and they're the system, but what happens when it's within your own family and it's with your own husband who you feel you truly love? So in my case, part of my process was accepting that even though my husband loves me profoundly, my own liberation is a threat to him. And how difficult that was for me to break with that even if this is painful for him because it's a threat, because he's part of an unconscious process of accepting a system, he loves me, and at the same time he can't hold my light. And to recognize that and to let go even of that love, because if I don't, then I am still enabling a patriarchic system. That was the most painful process I had to go through, and I'm still in the mourning process of this. Is, if you really want to be true to yourself, you need to look at all the ways that you are connected to this system that appears to be from love. And it turns out that that's hiding behind that love is hiding the fear of the feminine power. Ugh. And that takes courage, and you've talked about it. We've all talked about the courage that it takes to really be free.
Yeah. And the courage that it takes to ask ourselves, what is our part in this system? Because also as women, we are the mothers of these men. And I think that's a part that we are not seeing that much, because we don't want to see in our own shadows. And yes, it is important to see what is our part in everything of what we are living.
Yeah, and I would love for us to shift that frame as a world now, from like, oh, this is men versus women, to like, hey, we are all enslaved by this system that is patriarchy. Yeah. We all want to be free. We're all equally, well, not equally, but we're all oppressed to some extent or the other, depending on our gender, on our location in this world, through our religions. Many variables play a role in this. But we are all oppressed under this system. And this system only benefits the 1%, and not the rest of us. Yes. And so as we recognize that and join forces together to free ourselves, it is in community. And bringing community through music is a beauty. So Ovashar, we will go to you for our little song, after which we will.
Zasha, you're the consummate segue. Thank you very much. You're brilliant. But Margarita, what you just said about in a general situation, the fear from your partner of you waking up, and when it really boils down to is the fear of the feminine waking up in myself, because all my life I've been surrounded by women always. Like in all the events I've done, there's 80 or 90% women, and I've never realized. But what it's done, I've been a protector of the mother always, but now it's my time to allow the mother to come alive in myself. And holy smoke, it brings up all of these tendrils of fear that I did not know were hiding behind what we thought was what you were mentioning. And to realize that I'm just in as much the grip of patriarchy as we all are or were, because it's lessened, I think, already by at least 50% in the last decade. And so we're kind of free. We just have to keep on the ball rolling, let's say. Anyway, I got too much to say, but that pressed such a major place in me, and I'm so grateful because it's just recognition of not to be afraid of the feminine. You don't have to do anything; just surrender and let it blast all the that which is not out of you, and ride through that. So here's a little song called "One Heart, One Mind, One Soul," and perhaps Sasha, you could highlight people as we go through it, and we can just put our hands on our hearts and breathing the center from where we all are, and honor the Divine Mother and the Divine Father within us, and thank you so much.
Sometimes it feels so hard to move along, saying goodbye to yesterday. Take heart, my friends, there is a new song bringing us back to our homelands. When something troubles you, just call out my name. I am the one who loves you. Be still within. Hear what I say. Give me the chance to be with you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. So when you're feeling down and on your own, take a look around. I am in everything. Give me your burden, walk into my arms. I will lift you up, I will hold you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. We are the ones who hear the new voice calling us home to freedom. Fear not, my friends, this is a new place full of new joys and happiness. Yes, we are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. Hello.
The Dog Lovers Society. We just need Jasmine here, Scott's dog. I'm sure she's rocking somewhere. Yay. Well, what an amazing show we've just had. It doesn't even cut it. Just what an amazing entrance into each other's heart space that we have shared. It is so healthy. I am so grateful. And I'm wondering, Sasha, what are the contact details for WET? And how can we communicate that with both our Facebook and YouTube audience, plus our Zoom audience?
Well, the best place to find us online at the moment is on the ista.life page. There under projects, you will find World Empowerment Trust, where if anybody wants to apply for mentorship to attend one of ISTA trainings and you are from either a country or a group of people, indigenous people who are suffering from systems of oppression, please apply to us. If you want to donate to our cause, there's a donate link there as well. I will find and put that in the chat in just a little bit. And there was just a little comment that I really wanted to share with all of you, just crystallizing from our discussion earlier. You know what shocked me as I grew up, I started with human rights and as a feminist with this same old narrative. And then I realized, hang on, these male-dominated parliaments, the laws that they are passing, like literally blew my mind that they were passing laws that were denying men their rights as well, like just in these stark ways. Like in Pakistan, the male child cannot be sexually molested. In the UK, a man cannot be raped. And we know that that's not true. That's a legal fiction. But these are laws being passed by parliaments, right, which are male dominated. And so this is really like, I just really wanted to bring that in, where it's like, it's not about men versus women. It's about us versus the system that pits us against each other, oppresses all. I mean, the number of boys that get molested in Pakistan is huge. As a psychotherapist working there, I have worked with so many women, little girls and boys. Child molestation is a big issue in countries and cultures where sexuality is repressed. And this is kind of the original place where a lot of these gender woundings begins anyway. So that was a thing I really wanted to punctuate here as something that we stand for. It's like finding community together, supporting each other to shed this conditioning that teaches us to fear the feminine and to treat her as the other, and uses masculinity, this specter of this distorted masculine power, as masculine as only the provider and the protector, which is so not accurate. It is so not human, right? And it oppresses men too. And so let us, men and women, join together and rise against this oppressive system. That's the message I wanted to really bring today.
Can I add something just very
Yes.
short? Also about countries, about what we think is different. And I said this at the beginning, what I found with WET is the possibility to get to know people, so many backgrounds, and getting really what bring us together. There's much more what we have in similar things, and what we have in what we want, what we believe our lives is supposed to be, that what gets apart. That's the differences. Is more what get us together. And I think we need to concentrate in what brings us together more than in the difference.
Exactly.
Let's enrich each other based on the diversity of our, histories and cultures, and the unification of being human together. together.
It is. It's bizarre. It wasn't until I started traveling that I managed to break all the stereotypes. Because I got brought up in Britain, and holy smoke, we think we invented the world. It's like, oh my goddess! And to travel around the world and see all these different cultures, and to peel all those layers off and say, holy smoke, my heart is your heart. Thank you for that. Now I can start rebuilding my reality from that foundation. So yeah.
I one of the poems in my poetry book, it's called "Don't Ask Me If I'm a Feminist," and it one of the verses says, "I don't want to help you be comfortable with the word feminist. I want to help you be comfortable with your own femininity." And I think that's the path, and like not just women or men being comfortable with their femininity, but with ourselves, like accepting all of this power in us. That's where we're going.
It is. Anything else to say in not conclusion, but the new beginning before we sign off? Would anyone like to share?
Margarita, would you like to share a little bit of, I don't know, of a poem maybe? Just a
Yeah,
little
why not?
paragraph. I don't know if it's possible for Margarita.
That would be beautiful.
Would be lovely. Ah, yay.
You're muted, Margarita, so just for you to know.
I'm sorry, I had turned it off. Yeah, let me try to find one really quick that is not that long.
Just a paragraph. I don't know.
Yeah, one that's really short. Okay. It's called Consecrated Rebellion. Descending to the underground covenants of this clandestine religion, my only genuine prayer of true devotion, I admit that my one only sin is to have lied, censured, and banished her to the basement of a treacherous Roman Empire, the delusive punishment for falling asleep between my unruly thighs. Wasted sleep on reprimands and condemnations, I prefer to dream you awake with legs wide open.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. Yay. Here we come. Dream team. Where's our other friend?
I just want to take a deep breath here with all of us. Just take a moment to take each other in, to take in this beautiful audience, to umashar every single little thread that came together today to make this message possible. Feeling this new beginning, this new world that we're all here to create, landing this new earth together. What it feels like in our bodies, in our being. What will true freedom be like, where every single soul is vibrating its truth, has shed this gender shackles and can just be one with their essence, whichever way it flows. To shine our brightest together in community. Just feeling that and calling it in between us, with us, through us. This is what I personally wake up in the morning for. And so many of us. This is what we're here for, a world where our new children that are born do not suffer the way that we did. Where we leave a planet that is flourishing and green and in love with each and every one of us.
No. Cool. Well, Sasha, thank you for being such an amazing host. I know we'll see you again, and hopefully we'll see all of us again here. And namaste to Scott, who's with Twin Ray. Hope to see you Wednesday night, 6 p.m. for our next amazing installment of The Awakening World. Let's see what turns up. So see you later. Namaste. Goodbye. Love you all. See you, Juliana, Margarita, Alison, Sasha, and me. Bye.